The trade deadline is in the rearview mirror, and now the only way the Seahawks can add any more players this season is through free agency. On today's program, we are going to break down the top free agent targets for the Seattle Seahawks after the NFL trade deadline. I got 5 players at 5 different positions that we will discuss and talk about the possibility of how they could fit in with this Seattle Seahawks team coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, we just passed 59,000 subscribers a couple days ago. Much appreciated, y'all. Thanks for doing that. And we want to get to 60,000 subscribers, but we first have to get to 59.5 thousand subscribers. So I need you, in other words, to subscribe to the channel for daily Seahawks coverage, our live shows, our watch parties, breaking news. If they sign one of these players we're talking about here on today's show, you need to subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Never miss a moment. Let's talk about a name that we have spent a decent amount of time on this program over the last several weeks, even dating back to the offseason. That is David Bakhtiari, formerly of the Green Bay Packers at the offensive tackle position. It is no secret that this offensive line badly needs some help, that it is just simply not working in any way, shape, or form. And whether it's the lack of talent that's there, I think there's some question marks even to the coaching staff with the job that Ryan Grubb and Scott Huff have done with this offensive line. It just isn't working. And as we head towards the second half of this season, the Seahawks need to find some solutions, and it might come way of looking at other players. Now, you have Abraham Lucas and George Fant both coming back from injury, and that should help things, but it's not a guarantee. David Bakhtiari's got an incredible track record. He's been a 5-time All-Pro offensive tackle in the National Football League. He's been a bit banged up at times, but at this juncture, with the bye week here and gearing up for the second half of 2024, you're not asking him to potentially play a full season here. You're just asking him to be along for the ride and potentially get you to the postseason. The last time we saw a decent sample size, you go back to 2022, he had a pass block rate of 87.8, run block rate of 68.5, and an overall grade near 80. He was pretty solid then. So let's ask you, should the Seahawks sign David Bakhtiari? You got 2 options here. Type S for sign, type P for pass. Way in the comment section, let us know. Up next, let's talk a very familiar name to Seahawk fans. Our old friend Phil Haynes is still looking for a job. And you look at the offensive guard position right now for Seattle. I think the question I have to ask is, can it get any worse than what it is right now? For all of you, and understandably so, that may have not been the biggest of Phil Haynes fans by any stretch of the imagination, he might actually be better than what the Seahawks have right now. And I know that's saying something because it isn't very good right now. Andy Bradford's had his struggles. Like Tomlinson hasn't played well. Christian Haynes wasn't even active last week. And here's Phil Haynes looking for a job, coming off a season where his grades weren't that great, if we're going to be honest, in 2023, with a run block rate of 53.6, and you saw the others in the 50s there. Phil Haynes is a guy that could step in and play a key role right away, and he might be better than what you have right now and potentially work his way into a starting lineup. That's how bad we've gotten to with things. And so with Phil Haynes, it's kind of the old thing about, all right, I don't really want to sign you, but I kind of have to. And that might be the situation the Seahawks find themselves in with Phil Haynes. It's not something they really want to do, but there's slim pickings out there, and it's not looking good at that position right now. More to come here on Seahawks Today here in just a moment. But first, let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered, folks. And with Game Time, you can save $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code CHATSPORTS. Terms apply. First purchase only. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not. Get the visual with the seat views, the 3D effect. And then you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Download Game Time today. $20 off your first purchase. Promo code ChatSports. Terms apply. First purchase only. What time is it? Game Time. Check out Game Time today. All right, let's bring you an edge rusher option, as the edge rusher position for Seattle has been pretty chaotic. Let's put it that way. We've seen some good and we've seen some bad. And Shaq Lawson could be a potential sneaky good fit for the Seahawks defense, as we've talked about this in the past, that the Seahawks have done a good job of, or Mike McDonald rather, finding these veteran pass rushers and really maximizing their capabilities. And you look at what Seattle's dealing with. Derek Hall has been very good this season. He's had a breakout second-year campaign. But then you haven't really seen a ton from Draymond Jones. Boye Mafe's been banged up a bit. You don't know when Uchenna Nwosu's coming back. They've pretty much given up on Travis Gibson at this point. I think Lawson could come in and take Gibson's spot and fit into the rotation. He hasn't had any huge sack numbers in recent years. You go back to 4 sacks in 2020, 3.5 sacks in 2022. But, I mean, you compare him to Travis Gibson. I know that we haven't seen Gibson get a ton of snaps at this juncture, at this point in the bowl game here in 2024, but I would be willing to bet that that goes back to what they're seeing in practice, or really what they're not seeing out of Travis Gibson. And to me, this could be a situation where you say, Travis, it ain't working here. Let's try Shaq Lawson instead and see if we can potentially get more and find another rotational piece for those edge rushers. If you had to pick one to decide, would you go with Phil Haynes or would you go with Shaq Lawson? Type P for Phil Haynes, type S for Shaq Lawson. Weigh in the comments section and let us know who you would sign between those two. Couple more for you here. Let's go to the defensive line now. Talk about not just any guy. Lawrence Guy is next on our list. And Lawrence Guy's had a pretty decent track record. I think he's been kind of an under-the-radar, underappreciated player in the National Football League in his career, mostly with the New England Patriots, and a part of some really good Patriots teams. He was named to the Patriots All-Decades team in the 2010s. He's got a couple Super Bowl rings to his name as well. And you look at this Seahawks defense, and what we've seen is that Jarran Reed has been solid. Byron Murphy, when he's been healthy, he's been really good. I like what I've seen from Leonard Williams. He's been fantastic. But then you got a whole lot of question marks beyond that. Jonathan Hankins has not been good, and you haven't found too many other options to rotate in on that defensive line. There's Lawrence Guy just sitting there, waiting on a phone call. And he's got a good history as a run stopper. Although we saw improvement in the run defense this past week, we haven't seen continuity. We haven't seen consistency when it comes to that run defense. Lawrence Guy potentially could help out that cause there. Last on our list, let's go to the safety position now. Rayshawn Jenkins out and potentially done for the season. The Seahawks still haven't found a full-time replacement just yet. That's where Micah Hyde could potentially come in. And if you go back to the offseason, Micah Hyde said that either he was going to play for the Bills or he was going to retire. And obviously the Bills didn't bring him back, but he hasn't completely closed the door on playing somewhere in the National Football League this year. And I liked what I saw from Micah Hyde in 2023. I thought he was still playing at a relatively high level last year with a season that included 54 tackles, 1 TFL, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. I was surprised that the Bills didn't find a way to bring him back, even if it was in a reduced role. I mean, they're starting DeMar Hamlin, for crying out loud. I'd take Micah Hyde any day over DeMar Hamlin at this point. But nonetheless, Micah Hyde, I think a solid football player. Obviously, that door has closed in Buffalo. Why not come to Seattle, a team that needs some safety help, that's trying to make a playoff push at this point? I think it could make a lot of sense for Seattle there. Who's a player the Hawks should sign? We've gone over 5 names. Now it's your turn. Whether you want to name somebody we've already mentioned or somebody else out there, chime in the comment section. Let us know who that is. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team all season long, even during the bye week, right here on the channel. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.